DJI do a pretty good job of giving you decent control rates on the Mini 4 straight out the box, but I think they could be better, and I've actually made them better. So I'm going to share with you my settings for the Mini 4 Pro in this video, and also tell you why I've done what I've done, so you can actually understand, and then hopefully you can use either my settings or use the knowledge I give you in this video to help tune your cinematic settings even better on your Mini 4 Pro. Oh, there's so many flies. The reason that I've changed these rates from stock is because I've been flying DJI drones for quite a while. I just ate a fly. Well, you don't get that on many other channels, do you? So like I was saying, the reason that I changed the rates from stock is because I've been flying DJI drones for a while now, and I kind of know the sweet spot for the control rates to get good cinematic footage. And learning about how these different values affect how your drone flies is going to give you a better understanding, a safer flying, a better flying drone, and above all, it's going to give you that top tier cinematic footage that you've been looking for. Oh God. Okay, I'm back. I know I look absolutely ridiculous, but at least I can concentrate. So to find the settings, click on the top 3 dots in the top right hand corner. Then you want to go on to control, and then you want to scroll down a little bit till you see gain and expo tuning. This is basically going to allow you to change all the different settings for the movement of the drone and the gimbal. So we click onto that, and now you can see it's selected normal. You also have cine and sport at the top, so you can change the settings for every single mode, and we're going to do that. So first we're going to start with cine mode. Now when it comes to the speed section of this, the max horizontal speed, ascent speed and descent speed, I kept them all the same. I found these were pretty good from stock, and I just sort of adjusted the gimbal and a few other things around to match these. So if we scroll down a bit, we can see max angular velocity. I kept that the same as well at 30 degrees a second. And then if you look down, we've got yaw smoothness. Now I actually lowered this value down to 9 because I felt it's going to give you a little bit more control over the control of the yaw, because it can get a bit mushy if you put the smoothness too high and you don't feel like you have quite as much control over the drone. So then I put the brake sensitivity, which is basically how fast the aircraft is going to stop when you release the sticks. I just put it to 150, which is the max setting, because in my eyes, as soon as you take your hands off the sticks, you want that drone to come to a stop, mainly for sort of safety reasons. That's why I've put it at 150. We'll see expo now. I've left all of these exactly as they came from stock. They were fine. And then we've got the gimbal. So I changed the control speed to 6 degrees a second. This is quite a bit lower than it comes. It actually comes at 10 degrees a second. Then I also reduced the tilt smoothness down to 7, basically for the same reason as before, just to have a bit more feel and control over the gimbal. The gimbal I felt was moving way too quick for the speed the drone was traveling, so I had to bring the speed of the gimbal tilt down. And then also, like I said, the smoothness, reducing the smoothness means from the second you let go of the stick, it's how long sort of the gimbal is going to keep moving and slowly come to a stop. I don't want it to be too long because it feels like you have less control. So yeah, tilt smoothness is down at 7. So those are my settings for cine. Now I'm going to move on to my settings for normal. So for flying in normal, similar to cine, I kept all the speeds the same. I felt the speeds were already pretty well set from DJI, so they did a great job in that respect. And then when it comes to angular velocity, I turned this down a little bit. It's 80 degrees a second to start with. I brought this down to 60 degrees a second. I felt it was a little bit too quick for the normal mode. And same thing again, the lower the angular velocity, the more precision you have over the direction that the drone is yawing. And then same again with the yaw smoothness, brought that down a little bit just for the better feel. Now brake sensitivity, same reason as on cine, I put that all the way to the max so that the drone comes to a stop as soon as it physically can. Expo settings, again, I thought they were all really well set out of the box, so I left them the same. And then when it comes to the gimbal, I thought the gimbal speed and the smoothness were both actually set pretty good out of the factory. So when it comes to normal, the only thing I actually changed was the angular velocity and the yaw smoothness and the brake sensitivity. So we're going to move on to sport mode now. So in sport mode, similar to the other two, I found that the speed settings were all set really good, left them as they were. And then when it comes to angular velocity, I'd ramp that all the way up to 180 degrees a second. Basically for me in sport mode, it's basically just used to get exactly where you're going. And in sport mode, you tend to be just moving very quickly in a straight line. You don't tend to do much yawing or sharp turns or anything. So I wanted to have the speed high just for the extra maneuverability when I'm just trying to get to where I'm going. Because in sport mode, I don't tend to do a lot of yawing whilst I'm actually filming. So I also brought the yaw smoothness down from 10 to 5, which is same as what I've done in the previous settings. I just feel like the yaw smoothness, having a slightly lower value, just gives you a better feel and control on the drone. Brake sensitivity, 150, I want it to stop as soon as it can. And the expo, I think DJI did a really good job with their expo settings, left that as is. And the gimbal. The gimbal is set to 30 degrees a second, and in this instance I actually increased the tilt smoothness from 0 up to 2 because at 0 it can be a little bit harsh and choppy, so adding a little bit of smoothness in there is going to take that edge off it. But like I said, in sport mode I'm really just getting where I'm going, and the smoothness, I really don't want it to be over smooth. I want to be able to have that control through the scroll wheel. But those are my control settings for sport mode. Now something else I'm just going to quickly cover whilst we're here is sort of the settings when you're going to be actually shooting from manual settings on the camera. So if we're going to pro mode here on the camera, we can see here everything is way overexposed, and that's one issue because the Mini 4 Pro is released, yet there is no stock of the Mini 4 Pro ND filters anywhere. So we're all a bit stuck at the moment. So if you manage to get a set of ND filters for your Mini 4 Pro, you were very lucky. Basically, I'll talk you through it. It's going to look terrible anyway. But you want to be having your shutter speed here, which is the shutter section. You want to have that as double your frame rate whilst you're flying. Basically, that's going to give you cinematic motion blur, so if you're flying close to objects, the video is just going to look more natural to the human eye. What you basically need to do is adjust your shutter so it's going to be the right speed. So here we're filming in 4K 30, so I would like to have a shutter of 1/160. As we can see now, the image is completely unusable, but I would then go through different ND filters and see which one gives me the closest to the exposure that looks natural. And then from there, I take my footage. So if you've just got a Mini 4 Pro and you want to know the things you need to do as soon as you get it out of the box, then click on this video here where I tell you the 7 things that you need to do with your Mini 4 as soon as you get it. Apart from that, stay tuned for more content. Somebody get rid of these flies. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.